kind of funny. I'm starting the stream and I feel like I'm forgetting something. I'll figure it out later. Hey, Shaggy so okay, I'm forgetting in my brain. That's the first thing. Shaggy SoCal, tool for Forza. Time for the next round of track guides. We're now in the second half of this season of NASCAR. So I think at this point we hopefully all have a good sense of what each of the road course tune and the oval tune will do. And we start, at least the first race is coming Thursday, is going to be on probably, just trying to think through the next I would say this is probably the most technical of the road courses that we're doing this season. um, so we're here at Mid Ohio, and like any of the track guides, I'm again, a lot of these I do these so off the cuff. I'm like, oh, maybe we should talk about this or talk about that. It's like, no, let me just do what I normally do. I'm going to get in. I'm going to run a couple of laps here on medium tires, just to kind of get situate myself, kind of into rhythm. Then I'll kind of do the track walk, and that'll get a little more in depth as far as what I'm looking at, what I think the car wants to do. What I'm trying to do with the car. Won't always be successful at it. And because I do need to practice, at least run some laps with some with the AI or some traffic out there, just so I can get a feel for maybe certain racecraft situations. Practice my questionable racecraft and hopefully not running into anybody on race night. I'll do a kind of mock race, or I'm trying to find a catchy way of saying a sim racing race simulation. Um, I'll do a mock race, I think is fine. But with what I think the race length will be, and that'll help me get sorted on, give me some traffic to work in, hopefully. It'll also give me a better idea on race strategy as far as tires. What tires will be best, and we have to run two different compounds during the race, assuming no rain, and we'll go from there. But anyhow, enough talking. Let's get out there. Let's make sure I've got medium tires, 50% fuel, because that's usually a good combo to kind of baseline what the car's doing. Now let's go ahead and start race. I think when Mid Ohio came up on the schedule, we were all kind of like, oh, what's this car going to be like? And surprisingly, it's actually pretty good. At this point, we should know that it's going to be the same issues that I pointed out at other tracks. You do have to be careful with wheel spin out of any slow second gear corners, which there are a couple. And generally, the back end's pretty stable. The front end will have a little push, obviously, if you carry too much speed into the corner. But surprisingly, this car works pretty well here at Mid Ohio. I'll brake about the 100 board. Still going to be on cold tires this lap, so just take this a little bit gingerly. And there's that wheel spin. A little bit early there, but we'll work on that. Okay, gonna brake just at the 400 board. I think that works. Might be able to brake a little bit later on the softs, but definitely on the hards, and maybe the mediums. That 400 board on the left side is a good reference point. Again, the back end wants to step out. And then this is one of my problem areas that I think I've just about got it figured out. And the valley. And up into the carousel. Mid Ohio is one of those, like, as far as when I first started sim racing way back in the mid '90s. I cut my sim racing teeth on IndyCar racing and IndyCar Racing 2. So, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Mid Ohio, Road America. Those are tracks in Forza that were some of the first racing circuits I learned in the IndyCar games. So while the IndyCar games aren't quite as accurate to the real world tracks, technology has come a long way. it's just it's kind of fun. You know, these are the tracks that you know, I started out on. Okay, down to third. All right, so we'll finish this lap and then let's do the track walk. And I will try to talk about what I'm trying to do around Mid-Ohio. That's why they call it the Madness. Yeah, that could have been better, but whatever. It'll be fine. Okay. Okay, so heading down into turn one. Now, depending on the exit you get out of the final corner, if you get a really, really good exit, you're going to be banging the rev limiter probably right as you get to braking point for turn one. If you want to upshift it to fourth, that's fine, or wind it out in third. I think, excuse me, leave that to driver discretion. Where I'm looking to brake at is, you know, again, depending on conditions, I'm actually looking at the temporary lighting pole there between the 2 and the 100 board. That's kind of my reference for braking for turn one. So depending on conditions, you know, time of day, I may adjust that a little bit. I don't think I'll be braking later than that because then you're risking going wide in turn one. But that seems to be a good place to get on the brakes. If I'm in fourth gear, drop it to third. If I'm already in third, I can leave it there. So braking in a straight line, I'm going to try and get my braking done and start to release off the brakes as I get to the bridge. So probably as I get to about here, if I do it, you know, and again, I might be releasing a little bit later. I don't think I'll be releasing sooner. I think it just depends on how, and it all depends how late I get to the brakes. If I miss my braking, obviously I'm probably going to hold the brakes longer as I go into the bridge. But if I can get my braking done, I can start to release the brakes as I start to go under the bridge. Then I'll, you know, as a release, turn in, the car will turn in easier. And then I can then, again, my preference is always trying to control the car. It's easier to control the car through the corner for me with the throttle than the brake. So that's where I will probably try to get all my braking done and not try to brake to the apex. I'll probably brake to the turn in, you know, release and then use the throttle to balance the car through the corner. So third gear here. I'm going to try and late apex it and just maybe get to the edge of the curbing right at where it ends. Let the car come all the way out to the left, to the right side. You can go in the curbing a little bit there. It's not going to upset the car too much because it's a NASCAR. Bring the car back over to the left side and heading down into the keyhole. For me, I'm going to be using the 100 board probably as a good reference point, braking until I can get into a bit of a rhythm, kind of, and the tires are warmed up. And then again, the compounds also will dictate a little bit, like, can I brake a little bit later and not sacrifice too much entry speed or carry too much speed in. But the 100 is a good baseline reference. Brake, brake, brake. Now the keyhole is interesting. I will probably not take what I would think is the ideal line through here. Because you know, the keyhole, you can kind of see it's like we're kind of coming uphill into it, and then it's going to go downhill, maybe a little bit off camber to the exit onto the you know, I will call it the back straightaway. It's really it's probably the only straightaway on the course. So so again, what I'm trying to do is I'll brake, 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 and I'll probably hit the first apex here. Now there's two schools of thought, and for me, one of my issues is sometimes places where you want to let the car drift out a little bit wide to open the second half of the corner up onto the back straight. It's that risk versus reward. If you if you try to do that and you go too far, you're off in the gravel and like that. So I think usually what I try to do, and let me do it my way, or at least show the slow way my way first, and then what I think is probably the better line, and you'll just have to figure out what works best for you. But usually what I'm trying to do is I'll apex in here. The car's just going to naturally, you're going to lose, you know, just coming down the hill. It's a little off camber, a little flat. The car's going to push a little bit out off the curbing, and then I'm going to try to bring it back and try to hold it. And what I'm trying to do is position the car so that it's about here, where the inside, where that inside new pavement kind of ends. And I'm kind of using that line there to help gauge when I can really feel comfortable starting to roll back into the throttle, try to get back to full throttle. Um, this is a very tight line through the corner and doesn't allow, that means I'm going to be actually turning more late on the exit than what I think is the better line. Let me see if I can set this up and then show you, go back up the hill here a little bit. And I think you'll see in the, when I do the test race, I think you'll see the AI, the driver tires do this, and it may actually even be what the suggested line suggests, is you kind of still hit this same apex, but you let the car come out a bit further and then turn in later. So it's, you're going to take a entry, let a car come out wide so you can get it turned back here, and so you're taking a straighter line out. So you'll be able to get to the throttle a little bit earlier. The car's a little bit straighter through the second half of the keyhole, and hopefully that translates into more exit speed out onto the straightaway. We'll see how that works. Again, my problem is that it's very easy then to get off into the grass, and we'll see how my line evolves over the race. Usually, what'll probably happen is I'll probably hug the inside a lot until I get used to how the car feels and I start to trust it more, and then I may start, bringing the line out further, to have that straighter line back onto the straightaway. So in either case, just be very careful. You're in second gear. Be very careful how quickly you go back to the throttle, because as we have learned, second gear, stabbing the throttle in second gear can spin the rear tires up and then get the back end loose. So coming down the back straightaway, what I'm going to point out here is, if you look straight ahead, just over the rise here, you actually see the second, the alternate start finish starter stand there with the big Honda sign. What I tend to do is when I come out of the keyhole, I try to find that, and then I just, even though I'm on the left side, I'm just going to point the car towards that starter stand, because again, the straightaway does kink, and I find that if I can kind of center up on that, as I get close to it, it kind of puts the car on line to where then it's just a slight turn to the right to work through that kink and let the car come back out to the left. That's what I tend to do if I'm on my own. Obviously, if you're in traffic, you're trying to set the pass, you're not going to be able to take that line necessarily. But if you can find that starter stand, especially if we're in like nighttime or rainy conditions where visibility isn't as clear, sometimes being able to see that starter stand and center up on it keeps you from going off. Like when the thing turns, when you hit that kink, you're not turning too early and going off on the right side, or missing it and then winding up in the grass on the outside. So we'll see what conditions I'm racing under here later on. But braking, heading into the madness and the S's. Again, I'm using the 400 board right now with this car. It's easiest to spot. Again, as I work my way down, usually the first thing I'm spotting is I look where, you have the TV crane here. I think that's the TV crane. Is there a camera on that one? Yep. So you'll see the TV crane. That's going to be the easiest to see. The 500 board is, the first board is right also where you have a section in the cement wall. So the end of that is painted orange. That's usually pretty easy to spot. So I know it's past that, and the next board, I won't be able to read the numbers with speed. I just, so it's usually orange, next board, start to brake. Now on the soft tires, late in the race, light fuel, rubber didn't track, I may be able to brake close to the 300 board, maybe somewhere in between. We'll see how that goes. But I think it's the other thing too, is I tend not to lean on the soft tires as much as I could, just because I kind of get into that pace on the harder compounds. But brake, down to third gear. If I do it right, I'll just barely get on the curbing here on the inside. I'm going to let the car come all the way out to the left side, and I'm actually going to keep it on the left, and I'll actually roll back into the throttle in third gear. Braking for the cresting, I guess this is called madness. Um, I'll brake just as the Honda boards go out of view, down to second gear, and then just hug the inside, balance the throttle. And this is another one. You're in second gear, you're cresting, you're still turning, and you're cresting a hill, so the back tires are going to get loose. You've got to then bring all the car all the way back to the left for the next turn. This is one. Be very careful on your throttle application. Very easy to get the back end, to spin up the rear tires, get the back end loose, and then find yourself off on the left side of the track. I should know. It happened to me a couple of times in previous seasons here where I just, was a little too aggressive trying to get back to the throttle. So it'll crest the hill. On lower class cars, sometimes I would say if you can hug the inside all the way through, that's fine, because then you can kind of get the car set and balanced for the next corner. Um, this one, big heavy NASCAR, I'm actually going to kind of follow kind of the rubbered in line. So as I'm rolling back on the throttle, it'll open the wheel up a little bit more and also reduce the risk of the back end snapping out if I'm a little too aggressive on the throttle. Bring the car all the way out here, bring it back, and then here's one of my two problem areas. It always takes me a while to get the braking right here. It's not quite, it's just, for me, I think it's just as I'm getting to the 50 board on the hard compounds, and maybe on the soft, you might be able to just pass it right before you get to the new patch of asphalt here. Second gear, I think I'm still in second gear at this point. Get the braking done, turn the car in, balance, balance, balance. I'm going to abuse the curbing. So I'm going to kind of try it. If I do it right, I'll abuse the curbing there. Keep the car to the right side. And this is the one, when I was talking about the Indy GP course, and I said there was a, turn 3 at the Indy GP on the infield, it's that awkward right-hander that, if you do it right, you've got to let the car, you're kind of braking out and risking going off wide if you get it wrong. And I said it's kind of similar to the last couple of corners of the S's before Thunder Valley. This is it. So I'm still going to be experimenting with this. This is what I'm going to try to do, what I think works with this car. We'll find out when I actually put another 20 laps or so under me. I'll know at the end of the race if that's the right thing to do. But usually now I'm going to, and again, I'll try and cut this curbing as much as possible. Won't always happen, but the setup here, I am going to abuse the curbing. But a lot of times, I think on previous ones, it said, "Oh, you're going to cut across to the apex of the next corner." And I think with this car, it's not going to be the most stable. So let me just kind of slowly go through it. What I was using to do is clip the corner there and then just kind of bring the car straight across to find the apex here, cut it and bring the car out. I'm not sure that that's the best way to do that. So let me go back and show you what I think will work best, and then we'll put them to the test in the race. I think the better line with this car. Whoop, not rewind. We'll resume from here. I'm just trying to be fancy with the e-brake. Let me go back a little bit further, just so I can reset it up, because I think it's can't talk and drive at the same time. I think what will work better is I'm still going to try to clip the inside curbing here. I mean, you can kind of see where, they've shown where previous cars have done that. But instead of coming off that curbing and then try to aim across immediately, I'm actually going to keep it to the left until I get to the curbing here on the left side. And as I'm getting to the end of this one, now I'm going to bring the car back across. It opens this corner up a little bit. I'm not as compromised. You end up going a little bit straighter. I can be on full throttle. I can probably be on full throttle a little bit longer because I'm not having to put as much steering in. And I think then it sets me up better for braking. You're going to want to brake somewhere between, we'll see where I'm at, when I get up to speed. The harder compounds, maybe as you're getting to the end of the curbing here on the right side, but definitely before you get to the end of the new asphalt. And this is the brake, 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 brake. Let the car come out. Crush fingers, hope that you don't drop tires on the grass on the left side or you're going into the gravel. And then setting up for the turn into Thunder Valley. Um, I'm experimenting with gearing. This is another one of these where I wish we had a gear that was like 2.5. Um, third gear feels a little low if you're not carrying a lot of speed in. Second gear feels a little high if you're carrying speed in. So it's almost like the ideal gear. I think is more like a 2.5. It's like somewhere between what second and third is currently set at. So, but again, the difference then will be is if you're in second gear, it's going to put the car's going to be a little more on its toes, which, in traffic situations, if you're in traffic, second gear is probably where you're going to be in. If you're on your own and you want to try third, and you're really good at getting your braking done and not relying on the engine to help slow the car down, maybe you put it in third and the car's just a little bit more relaxed, not as much drama on exit when you're trying to get back to the throttle. That's up to you. I think driver's discretion. But let's say if I'm in second, I'm going to try and get to the curbing late. And again, we're cresting over the hill here. So as you're getting back to the throttle, just know as you crest the hill, the back end's going to want to step out if you're high in second gear. This might be one where if you're in second, as you kind of get to that crest, shift it to third. Let the clutch, kind of interrupting power to the rear wheels to go up to third gear may be enough to get the car over, get it into third, and not have to worry about the back end kind of shimmying as you crest the corner. So third gear here, and I forget if I'm going up to fourth or if I'm just leaving it in third. But what I will do is I'm going to arc the car in, heading up into the carousel or setting up the carousel. I'm actually going to line the car up on the right side and get it lined up for the 200 board. The other thing I'm looking at, you can just barely see it over the center of the track, is it's one of and I don't know what the building is actually used for, because it's not, I don't think it's timing and scoring because that's the one with the red roof. But there's certainly like a kind of like another building there. Maybe it's, corporate suites or like that for Mid Ohio. But you can kind of, that's sitting straight in the middle of the track if I'm lined up on the right side here. So I'll be braking at the 200 board, getting it to third gear, just braking straight towards that building. And as you can see, it lines me up perfectly with the new asphalt that's kind of been laid down for this left-hander. So brake, 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 third gear, release, and then I'm just going to follow the new pavement through the corner out to the right side, still in third gear, roll back in the throttle a little bit. Then setting up for the carousel, I'm going to brake as soon as I get to the end of the curbing there on the right side, drop it to second, and I'm actually going to brake in a straight line. The car's going to come back out to about mid-track because I want to open up the carousel a little bit, release the brakes about here, and turn the car in. And then this is happy dance with the feet to try and keep it balanced because it is a late. I want to ideally do this as a late apex. And usually what happens is I give it a little too much throttle and the front end pushes a little bit. But still second gear here, trying to keep the car to the right side as best I can, open the wheel up, start to roll back into the throttle, and then the final corner here, this is an awkward shift. You're high in second gear, getting to third. I'll still be working on this one through, as I run laps. I think for me, it's going to be an early shift. As I get to the curbing, I'll probably drop it, not drop it, I'll probably pop it up to third. I may even do a quick off and on of the throttle just again, since I'm putting steering in and I'm trying to get to full throttle, I'm trying to just manage the wheel spin at the back of the car. Because the last thing I want to have happen is the wheels spin up while I'm trying to turn onto the front straightaway and have the car hook. So we'll see how that works. But usually it'll be a short shift to third, onto the front straight, out, maybe got on the curbing a little bit, and then cross the finish line to start another lap of Mid Ohio. So that's that's what I'm trying to do. What I think will work with this car. Now I think we need to kind of put it to the test and see what we can do here. So okay, let's see. I don't know that I figured out what the mock race laps will be. Probably not. I have good. So yeah, 126, and that was a 120. All right, so let's see. Let's get out of here. Let's set up and do what I think will be a test race here. So I think when I was doing tire testing on the controller, it was about a 126.3 was my quickest on the hard compound, which means my wheel time is probably closer to 127. There's usually I'm a little couple tenths quicker in a controller. But let's guesstimate laps off of a minute 27 lap. 60, 70, 87. 1800 divided by 87 is 20.6. You know what? I will just run 21 laps on that. Okay. That's probably 2 laps too high, but we'll see what the race timer is at the end. So let's go to advanced race setup and Chevrolet. And we'll do the road course car. Okay, so let's go ahead and load saved options. Let's load up what I used for the Brickyard. And let's just run through the settings. And then we ran 21 laps at the Brickyard. So, all right, that'll be fine there. Random start of day. Time rolling 4x of the time scale is fine. 20% starting rubber is fine. We'll see what we get for weather. Though if it rains, I'm going to re-roll for weather. I'm still still group roll off delay. They got their group roll off delay. So I'm starting a second back from once they've all started, I'll start a second after them. Again, I want traffic to work through. It's not always about winning, because it's the AI. Sport rules, 5x on the tire wear, no disqualification, standing start, grid ordering. No, we're going to do it by PI, and we're not going to do it by sending grid order. We'll put the fast guys up front. Group roll off delay per car, so half-second delay per car. I think I did a second delay at Indian. I think, and again, the whole thing is I don't want them all again because drivatars, AI, they tend to bunch up and it slows down. And it's like, well, what's the point of me starting all the way at the back when I can pass half the field in the first 2 turns because they can't figure out what they're doing. So we'll do 1 car, 1 second roll off delays for each of them. Mandatory pit stops. Well, we always set 1 during the race. I think this one, ideally, you're probably going to be able to do, or you're going to, I don't think a 1-stop strategy will be best. But let's go ahead and load in. We'll load in. Then... or what are the conditions? Thunderclouds 10 a.m. That's fine. All right. So event setup. I was all focused on the number of laps and yeah. Let's go ahead and do that. Now, there we go. That's right. Okay. So on the tire strategy, again, the magic 60% is when we have our first major fall off on tire performance. Here from Mid-Ohio, it's a high deg track, but again, it makes sense. It's a very technical course, a lot of corners. So soft, medium, hard, they will hit 50% on laps 5, 7, and 10. It was done by me on a controller. I did a few laps on the mediums, and it still seemed to hit about 60% at the end of lap 7. And it's going to be, close. You might think about trying to do an extra lap, because it was, at least when I got to the line on those laps, it was 64.8, right at 60% on the mediums, and then 62.9 on the hard. So it's like, if you're going to try and do an extra lap, you're going to be flirting with the 70% drop off, which is even worse. So it's a short pit lane. I don't know that trying to do a 1-stopper is all that beneficial. It's probably the 2-stopper might be quicker because you can make up, given how technical it is, it's a short pit lane. The fresher rubber is going to pay bigger dividends than trying to make a tire last. That's my opinion. And as you probably have learned by now, I suck at tire strategy. So take it for what it's worth. So let's see. We're doing 21 laps. 10. Yeah. So, Yeah, it might be, and just trying to like, okay, how what's the softest compound I can run and still get to the end of the race? Yeah, 10 laps. Let's say 10 laps on the even if the 10, it's like you could do if I can get 11 laps. Again, it's like if I can get 11 laps on the hards, if I can get that extra lap on the hards, I can run softs in the final two stints. So 11, 10, 11, 5, and 5. The other option is 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. The other option is uh, 10 laps, or you can maybe even do 9 laps on the hard, 7 laps on the mediums, and then 5 laps on the softs. So there's options there, but I don't think a one stopper is advisable because even the 17, 18, 19, 20, 20, you'd have to at least do 2 extra laps on the hards and mediums to make a one stopper work. So again, tire strategies. So what we're going to do is we'll set up for a hard compound. I'm actually going to see if I can do. Let's see if we can do 11 laps. Um, so we'll put 12 laps of fuel in. We'll see if we can do 11, and if I can, then I'm going to go do soft. If it looks like the tire really hits on lap 10 early, depending on what I'm doing. And again, the opening stint, since I'm in traffic, I'm probably not going to push the tires as much. Then I might do hard, medium, soft. But let's go ahead and start the race. It's a good-looking NASCARs. Oh, is that it? There we go. Ensure cold tires. Don't need to push it immediately. That was a bit of a lunge, but again, Forza trying to balance the driver tires out. I harped on this in previous track guides. I kind of wish, yeah, I've got the driver tire level set at max, but it'd be nice if when the game tries to balance the field out. I just wish that maybe it would have a slightly higher strength of field front to back, so where the back markers aren't so incredibly slow, and there's a few more cars up front that are running close to my pace or a little bit quicker, so I've got something to chase. And Mid-Ohio, again, because it is so technical, it is not going to be an easy place to pass, at least as far as to set up proper passes. So most of it is just going to be minimizing your mistakes and being in a position to capitalize on others. But early on, I'm probably going to get a pretty decent run here. So let's take. Oh yeah, I got to run. I'll put it to 5 just to help with. Yeah, see that late line that the car in front of me took? That's probably the better line. If you can get comfortable doing that, that's probably going to be the quicker line out of the keyhole. It's just one of those times. Don't do what I do. There might be a better way to do it. Maybe I want to stay off that curbing a little bit more. See if I can get close to the to Josh there in front of me. For the, I don't know, I'll probably pass him, but yeah, oh, that's thought it was a little late. Thought it was too late on the braking, but no. Josh's car there in front of me is taking that is definitely taking that late apex line that I can't seem to figure out, or at least be comfortable with. And that was me holding the throttle through the upshift. It's going to be a challenging course. Now, on the harder compounds, that might be easier to manage. That's why we practice. Maybe go out a little wider in the carousel than I do. It's not a line I'm used to doing. I'll figure it out eventually. Very late apex there. Are we 27? Yeah. 11 laps will be interesting. run here. Oh, he's definitely fighting me. I don't know. I'm struggling with the hard tires, and they're not even, you know, close to 60% yet. I don't know if I want to do an extra lap on these. They're at least getting, you know, right foot's getting a little bit better. Getting back to the throttle. A little bit late. I think what I'm going to do is since it's 21 laps, I could do an extra. I could do a full 10 laps on the hards, but might as well hit now, and then just run the full 7 and 5 on the medium and softs, and that'll get me to lap 21. Again, the theory is that even an out lap on the medium tire will be faster than the in lap on a worn hard tire. Their tires are definitely going off. Okay, pit in. What? I wasn't paying attention. Alright, that's going to cost me a lot of time. I was looking up and you need to stay on the pit road getting in. So medium, let's go custom. We're going to do 30% fuel. We don't need that much. I was looking up at something and then just didn't realize that I hadn't quite got the car slowed down for the corner. That's okay, I'll get another shot at it. And I think we immediately want to get it up into second gear as soon as we're released. And it does kind of still point you out to the middle of the track, so just have a little bit of steering, just so that you don't accidentally, bump into somebody that's on a flyer. good to lap 16. Part of it, what doesn't help there is I'm getting on the inside curbing a little bit too much. Oh yeah, medium tires are so much better. That was almost into the grass. Excuse me, that was rude. Give the driver tires credit. Their rejoins are much... At least the attempts are much safer. They don't just immediately come back on. But you could definitely tell that struggling with grip, they're out of the keyhole. Maybe third gear is better there. It's that inside curve is just diabolical. I'm not handling it well. Let's try this line that they're doing. I mean, they're doing a really sharp pivot there. Excuse me. It didn't make it easy for me. Good run. Look to the outside. Yeah, maybe that's why I don't like the taking that outside line. Yeah, okay, so gave the AI a little receipt. As I almost spin it off myself. This has not been my best lap. Just deep breath, gather it up. Box this lap. All right, let's see if I can get into pit lane without beefing it this time. Out, and then that's better. Okay, so we're gonna go to soft tires, custom. We only need 20% fuel. Let's see if we can make up some time for mistakes. Okay, I'm rewinding because I'm stupid. Okay, when you come out of the pits, and you're trying to get a sense of where you're at, Just remember, the keyhole comes up much quicker than you think it does. So maybe wait until you're on this straightaway. You got a little bit more time to think. Okay, so where am I at? 15. Looks like everybody, we've all made 2 stops, so it's 5 laps to the end of the race. Let's see what I can do. Hopefully not. Alright, so we're going to see if we can set Rodeo up for the keyhole. Definitely have, oh yeah, I've definitely got a straight line. So I just need to get a good exit here. Again, against the AI, I'd rather be on the inside of the keyhole. I'm in try-hard mode. I got soft tires and low fuel and a rubbered-in track. I don't think I'm going to get to 10th, but let's see how close. I might. An 11th is possible. I'll try and pass Lucky here through Thunder Valley heading up to the carousel, and then hopefully be able to get past Voodoo into the keyhole. I should have a grip advantage here.
Total time penalty is about half a second.
What do you want me to do when I get turned in on?
Last lap. Let's go.
I won't get Voodoo into the keyhole. So we'll set up a good exit and see what we can do down towards China Beach. Not there, then we'll set up for the carousel and yeah, I'm gonna have a. Ooh, I've got a good run. It'll work. I just need to get that half a second. Oh, and if I can close the gap here. I don't think I'm going to make up the distance there on mode. Well, that's a workout. So that is that's NASCAR at Mid-Ohio, 31-32. So I think typically I'd expect a 20-lap race. That should rein things in there. So 20 laps at that point, then it's easy. It's an easy hard soft if you want to do 2 stops. If you're going to try and do a 1 stop, good luck, because I think it's again. I think it's Mid-Ohio's too technical of a course. Wears out tires too quickly, and the pit lane isn't that long. So I think just the safe bet is a 2-stop race. Hard soft should do it. So with that, let's get the little congratulatory. Hey, good job, 11th place. Yep, should have been a little higher, but that's why we practice. But with that, I'm going to call this stream done. Take a little bit break. Check in on how two of our Thursday Night Thunder cohorts are actually participating in the iRacing's 24-hour Daytona this weekend. So, probably take a quick second to kind of check on where they're at and who's in the car at the moment. And if it looks like it's going to be a bit before one of them is in the car, I'll probably hop back out. And the second race for this coming Thursday is going to be Homestead on the oval. So that's going to be a fun race too. Super speedway races get a little too spread out. I kind of like the smaller ovals. So with that, hope you guys are having a good Saturday. We'll see you on Thursday night. Happy racing.